Hey, Amako's fans, welcome. This is Sports Queen. My name is Witness. The transfer saga involving Kaizer Chief, Captain Spurs, and two talented young players, ASANILEVALEBAY and Baartman, has become one of the most talked about legal battles in South African football. The dispute centers around whether Chief can sign these players without paying a transfer fee following Spurs' relegation from professionalism or professional status. Spurs claim they invested heavily in developing the players and that their contract remain valid, while Chief argue that the player are free agent due to Spurs' loss of professional status. So the case raised important question about contract enforcement, player rights, and the financial protection of club investing in youth development, with initial ruling favoring Chief, but Spurs appealing to SAF attribution to final outcome will significantly impact the future of players transfer and youth development in South Africa. This is Sports Queen, guys. My name is a Witness. Join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. So Kaizer Chief should pay Spurs. Let's see on it. Reason why Chief should pay Spurs. First, development cost R8 million claim. Spurs claim they spent around R8 million to develop each player over several years. They argue that Chief are benefiting from their investment without paying a transfer fee, which is unfair. Existing contract. Spurs claim the players were still under valid contract even after relegation. So if Chief signed them without paying, it would be a breach of contract unless the contract was legal void. Ethics and club relegation. Spurs feel had done and say Chief should have negotiated proper transfer fee instead of waiting for a legal technicality to get the players for free. If Spurs win the attribution, Chief may be forced to compensate or even cancel the signing. Reason why Chiefs shouldn't pay. First is DRC ruling, players are free agent. The PSL dispute resolution chamber ruled that because Spurs dropped it to immature level, the contract become unenforceable. This make the players free agent, meaning no transfer fee is required. Also, legal process followed. Chief waited until the legal process confirmed the players could leave for free. They did not poach the players legal. They followed the contract channel. Clubs accepted risk when developing youth. Critics argued that not developed players bring a return. That part of football. If Spurs couldn't secure the contract properly or fail to protect themselves legal, that is on them, not Chief. What might happen? If SAF attribution rules is in favor for Spurs, Chief might have to pay compensation, possibly cancel the contract, or face disciplinary action from the leagues. If SAF sides with the DRC ruling, Chief keep the players not paying anything and set a strong precedent for other youth players in relegated teams to leave for free. So Chief don't have to pay unless SAFA overturn the DRC decision until the attribution ruling is final. The situation is legal and ethical in gray area. So let's about on SAFA. What they so say, DRC ruling in favor of Chief. So far, the PSL dispute resolution chamber DRC ruled the ASANILEVALEBAY could become a free agent because Spurs lost professional status. The DRC also ruled that Baartman is a free agent, which would allow him to join Kaizer Chief. Spurs appealed to SAFA. Spurs have taken the matter to SAFA attribution, asking an attributor to overturn the DRC free agent ruling. The SAFA attributor, Hilton Epstein, is to decide whether to uphold or reverse the DRC decision. Pending and suspended status. Because SAFA attribution has been appealed, some of the DRC ruling are suspended until SAFA deliver its judgment. Specifically, Spurs argues that until attribution is decided, the player may still be bound under existing contract. Chief have not yet failed to players in many matches, but because of this uncertain. So has SAFA sided with the Chief yet? Not official. SAFA has not taken a final decision that clear favor outside the DRC, and the attributed decision is awaited. Whatever SAFA rules will determine whether Chief can definitely keep the players without paying Spurs, or whether Spurs are owed compensation or can block transfer. So why Spurs fail in this case? First is loss of professional status. The DRC found that Cape Town Spurs were no longer a professional club after being relegated from Motsepe Foundation Championship second tier to SAFA ABC Motsepe League 10 tier, which is mature status. According to football contract law, many professional players' contracts are only valid if the club remained professional. Therefore, players like ASANILEVALEBAY and Baartman were ruled as a free agent because the club status had changed. So the DRC view a club without professional status can't enforce a professional contract. Number 2 is the rules of NSL and SAFA overrule the contract. Even if Spurs had strong contract, the NSL handbook and SAFA rule can override club level contract. Clause 43(1)-7 in NSL handbook reported allows players to be released under certain circumstances, especially when the club status changed. The DRC said the ordinary grammatical meaning of the rule supports the player's release. Also, players' rights and career protection. The DRC considered the impact on players' career. If young promised players like Baartman and Valebay are forced to stay with the club in a mature league, they lose national exposure, miss out on a competitive player, and are blocked from earning proper. So, the ruling leaned toward protecting players' future over Spurs' financial investment. Also, poor position and documentation by Spurs. Report says Spurs may have relied too heavy on verbal or non-specific contract terms and didn't fully protect themselves with the strong legal clauses in their contract. Also, they admitted a statement that training compensation only cover about 5% of what they invest, but they didn't secure clauses to recover the full value. So Spurs failed of the DRC stage because of lost professional status, rule interpretation, player protection, and weak legal ground. So Spurs appealed to SAFA attribution, hoping to reverse for DRC ruling. That case is still pending as October 2025, and if Spurs win, the player may be forced to return or Chief may have to pay. So is there a possibility for Kaizer Chief to win? Of course, yes. There is strong possibility for Kaizer Chief to win this case and be allowed to use the players, but it is still pending on final SAFA attribution ruling, which is current pending. So while Kaizer Chief could win, faces DRC already ruled in their favor. Spurs are now in a mature club. Their players want to join Kaizer Chief, and Chief are playing it safe. What could stop Chief faces SAFA attribution overall? The DRC, the Spurs may be able to block the transfer or demand transfer compensation or return of the players. However, those outcome seems like since the rules and similar past case favor the players' freedom when a club drops to immature status. So in conclusion, yes, there is a real possibility Chief will win and use the players. They already have the initial legal win DRC ruling, and unless Spurs succeed in their appeal to SAFA attribution, Chief will keep the players without paying to Spurs. Guys, thanks for joining. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notification bell, then enjoy the video.